Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. There is one thing that I realised just now that I have forgotten to do. So you're about to see a bit of the wiring under the board, as it were. It's a usual thing. This is very much a verite thing. Yeah, I didn't change the date on the opening card. So I'm just going to do it now. See? There's not much. You can't do anything about it. It's all fine. There we are. Good. See? Here I am. Good evening, brethren, sistren, and those who do not like to be pigeonholed. Each one of you, freaks, geeks, and every one of you totally unique. This is it. This is the Discordian service for Friday the 28th of February in the year of Our Lady 2025 in the season of chaos. Yes, and the season is coming to an end, rolling to an end. Beware the Ides of March, Shakespeare said, but he didn't realise that he was saying beware of the Ides of March because there would be a Discordian change of season on them, because Discordianism hadn't been invented at that time. So there we go. So there we are. We're here, and of course it's time right now, as always, for the disclaimer. We're going to run the disclaimer. I'll do is I'll take, I don't know, it's Forbury, every fourth word. So Discordianism, for, only, or, offered, of, backflips, trained, attempt, home, other, or, entirely, and, are, society, property, wrongs, they, fnord. There we go. Every fourth word of the disclaimer makes total sense, of course. I'm just going to move this on. Okay, here we go. There's the order of service. I may, in fact, I will leave you with the order of service just for a moment for that. Sounds like there has been an emergency in my house at this time, because this is live. So I will return to you once the emergency has been, or at least assessed. Maybe not resolved, but assessed. Emergency not just assessed, but also resolved. So there we go. I was off performing a miracle. Now I'm back. So there we go. Cool. Right. Order of service, as always, deep thoughts, candor, face of Eris, reflective tarot, weekly sacrament. We may have an extremely interesting irony, because I can't change the service now that I've ordered the service. And we're going to have, so let's just get straight into it, shall we? There we go. We'll go on, and we're going to go into deep thoughts. The deep thoughts man this way is thinking about, but you should probably see the title. We'll put the title up there. The Paradox Keystone. And there it is, the Paradox Keystone. That is, of course, as you shall know, our representation of unending cosmic chaos right there. And I just wanted to talk this week about the fact that we were talking about last week, and indeed in many weeks, about how at its heart Discordianism is a religion, and also Discordianism is a joke. It's like a practical joke. You come in here to see the Discordian clown fool about, trying to convince you that Discordianism is a thing, when actually it's just some kind of sick joke. But then it's also a real thing. But it has to be a joke at the same time. Yeah, it has to have an air of maybe not being quite serious. Religions, you see, we believe that religions are supposed to be serious. And therefore having a religion that is a joke and not serious seems kind of inherently blasphemous, even though in that state, well, I suppose what you're doing, I guess if you're on a monotheistic trip, I mean, this is the thing. We are worshippers of Eris, the goddess of chaos. Eris, she is our goddess. But nowhere does it say that, therefore, if Eris exists, that presupposes that Zeus exists, and it presupposes, she's part of a pantheon. She's part of a gallery of gods, and we are just the sect of Eris. Yeah? It's uncertain historically. I looked into this. Well, actually, other Discordians looked into this and have passed the message on. We don't know if there was a real sect, cult, whatever, of Eris. We don't know. There's no record if there was one. But then isn't that just what would happen? I don't know. Who knows? Maybe we're just late to the party. The ancient civilizations have faded away, but the one cult that remains is the cult of Eris. But the point is that the implications of worshipping Eris are the same. Yeah, we just happen not to worship any of them other Greek gods, and maybe somewhere there's somebody who does. We don't know. Maybe they don't make a big fuss about it. Maybe they just do it. We don't know. But then there's lots of other people who worship, on the monotheistic contract. See, this is the thing. What you sort of come to realize is that if you have a faith, then you buy into a contract. If you buy into the Eris contract, Eris doesn't care about us. It says at the beginning that she delivered a message in the 1960s and said, look, control is your enemy. And I've just popped by to tell you that you are free because of chaos. Chaos is real. Because chaos is real and cosmic and inevitable and eternal, you are free. So stop trying to control things. Stop trying to restrict the freedom of others. And indeed, that whole thing of, freedom, you're free to do whatever you want. Yeah, well, within certain reasons. Because one thing that, therefore, the rule is implicit is that you shouldn't restrict the freedom of others. So we too should say, thou shalt not kill, because if you kill someone, they can't be free to do whatever they want. They're dead. Yeah, so that's how it works. Okay, so, and indeed, that whole idea that we should allow others freedom, and the only freedom we are denied is the freedom to curtail the freedom of others, is a way of looking at the paradox of tolerance, which says that we should be tolerant of everything except intolerance. The one thing we should not tolerate is intolerance. And weirdly, kind of people who love a bit of intolerance, who's there, I'm eating that for breakfast, dinner and lunch. They like the bit where we say, well, you're free to do whatever you want. But then they're not so keen on the bit where we say, but you're not free to curtail the freedoms of others. Because they say, well, that's just ridiculous. if I'm free to do whatever I want, then surely I am also free to curtail the freedoms of others. That's part of the deal. Now, that's the paradox of tolerance, my friend. You're free to do everything except restrict the freedoms of others. That's something to dwell upon. So, paradoxes are there. They're at the heart. That's why I've called it the Paradox Keystone. Discordianism is built upon the idea that it is simultaneously serious and non-serious at the same time. It is built upon the notion that we are free to do everything except curtail the freedom of others, which means there is something we are not free to do. That is the one commandment. Don't restrict other people's freedom. And then there's the next step of that, which is unless they're using that freedom to curtail the freedoms of others. At which point, you should probably point that out, because that's the thing you can't do. And that's the point. Paradoxes are at the end of every philosophical argument, especially if looked at through a Discordian lens. And I think that's why a lot of Discordianism that happens on the internet is 23 this week. I personally said 23. It's the last day of the current month. Not that means anything in the Discordian calendar, but I just don't feel that there's room for a 23 in this particular service. So them's the breaks. Paradox is at the heart of Discordianism. Things that are both one thing and another that seem mutually exclusive. And we were talking about, what even is what even is Discordianism? Is it a real thing? I mean, it has to be a joke, but it's also a real thing. There was a whole conversation, and I just wanted to touch on that in this week's Deep Thoughts. So I don't think that there will be a canned art for this, because I don't think anyone's about, which is going to be, you're going to see now, it's going to be kind of ironic, probably. I mean, it might not be, we've still got time, but anyway, I'm going to leave the floor open to questions for a second. That was longer than a second. Okay, moving on. Faces of Eris this week. As you can see, I've bothered to update the Fnord in the corner. Yes, Chat GPT played a part in this week's Face of Eris. It did. And you shall see why. And you shall also, if you've been a regular attendee at the eChapel for these services, this is going to be a moment of revelation, of heartbreak. Added drama has been thrown into the mix here at 7:20 UK time on Friday the 28th of February 2025, because the Face of Eris this week is the heavy via Chat GPT, a meta face. Regular attendees here at the eChapel will know that every week the most vocal congregant in these here parts, one TF2 Real Gamer 2022, has said, is it the heavy this week? And every week I have said no. And then last week I said, look, if you leave, I can't really do the heavy because I don't have the 6 bullet points. So if you can come up with the 6 bullet points, then we'll make it the heavy. And he or she duly did what I had been asked. It was very prompt. It was very prompt because the message that was sent to me was the most clearly Chat GPT'd thing. And it did. What was really interesting about it is that, one, it was clearly Chat GPT'd. I guess it's like the thing where it's like this individual has vouchsafed that they're a student, and students are always being told you're not allowed to use Chat GPT. So as soon as they get out of the classroom and they're asked to do anything like this, rather than think for themselves, they're like, I'm going to use data. I am going to taste of the forbidden fruit. I am going to use Chat GPT. And Chat GPT made 6 points for the 6 bullet points. But what was understandable of it was that the prompt had been, if you were a Discordian in presenting a presentation about why the Heavy from Team Fortress 2 is a face of the goddess Eris, what points could I make to support that argument? And it tells you that ChatGPT's language model takes things at face value, which at first you would think, well, good, I want it to take things at face value. I don't want it to, make stuff up. We have a name for that. It's called a data hallucination, and it's a bad thing, right? But then the thing is that the points that it came up with talked about this section of the service where we see a face of Eris, because what the ChatGPT language model was doing was assembling not only an answer as to how the Heavy could be the face of Eris in such a segment such as this, but also why a Discordian would pick this as a thing. So it was, as it says there, very, very meta. So let's go through embraces the chaos. So the Heavy embraces the chaos. That's all I know, really. I mean, it did have a longer point. I'm wondering if I should bring up the note. I'd probably bring it up over here. Hang on, everybody. Let me just read to you what ChatGPT said, if I may. Pull it up. Go to the account. Go there. And go there. And go there. Go to my videos, because it's the one with the comments on it from before. There we are. Right. Okay, here we are. We've got it. Okay, so known for his quirky blend of brute strength and unexpected humour, the Heavy embodies the kind of playful chaos that Discordianism, and Eris as its emblem, celebrates. His unpredictable persona mirrors the goddess's delight in disorder, which is interesting. I would know if I was picking something to be the face of Eris, the fact that the thing I have picked embodies Discordianism, like the fact that, right, okay, so back to our previous point with the Paradox Keystone, right? Whatever I pick, it is sometimes one week it was Eris, yeah. And one week it was you, the audience. Yeah. So those ones, those are good because they're strong choices. But then occasionally I've chosen things like Ms. Chalice from Cuphead, things like that. The point is that there is a paradoxical proportion to which the weaker the choice, the stronger the choice, because the more random and chaotic it is. So the Heavy counts in that box. So this, ironically and paradoxically, I told you everything was paradoxical in Discordians. The stronger the choice, the weaker it is. Because that I can see that. If you can see how my choice for the face of Eris on the surface of it is a good choice, then it's a bad choice. But if you look at it and go, what the hell, that's a terrible choice, then it is paradoxically a great choice because it's closer to the spirit of chaos. Simples. So, this one says, this is a bit of a stretch, okay? Is the Heavy... this is... The point has been made very bluntly by ChatGPT that picking the Heavy to be a representation of Eris is great because it's so weird. Okay, which in itself is a bit of a blasé point, but hey, whatever. Not your average god, brackets Des. So you say it's subversion, the way that Chat GPT put it, subversion of traditional norms. Traditional depictions of deities tend to follow established aesthetics. Adopting a character like the Heavy as the face of Eris subverts these norms, aligning perfectly with Discordian values that challenge conventional authority and expectations. Which is hilarious, right? Because what's happened here is that this section is both a serious philosophical contemplation point for people watching the service, but it is also a joke about these, like, there was a joke in some sketch show in the 90s where you would talk about or where there was a character who was like a vicar who would talk about something and then just at the end would go, and that's a lot like Jesus, isn't it? Yeah, whatever it was. Like, I was waiting at the bus stop and the bus didn't come for a very long time, and then eventually it turned out that the bus I was waiting for had been cancelled, so I had to wait a bit longer, but eventually the bus did turn up. And that's a lot like Jesus, really, isn't it? Like, basically, whatever he was talking about, this vicar, he would just be able to slap. And that's a lot like Jesus on the end of it. And that was straight up a joke about vicars twisting, like trying to come up with some kind of spiritual message to deliver in their sermon on a Sunday. And being aware of that joke, when I made the Faces of Eris section for these services, I was kind of playing on that idea of saying that everything is like Jesus, saying that everything is like Eris. And now, thanks to the Chat GPT and the choice of the Heavy as the face of Eris, we have had this joke thoroughly explained to us, and there's nothing less funny than having a joke explained to you. But what's in a remarkable twist, the fact that Chat GPT has been explaining, there's a whole context here which makes the explaining of the joke hilarious. So it again, we're back in Paradox land. Meme Lord, mimetic and digital relevance. The Heavy status. Oh, I need some of my magic man juice. It's not man juice. I'm a magic man and this is my juice. Not my juice. Oh, never mind. You know what I mean. Okay, so, sorry, yes. The Heavy status as a meme icon, I'll have a word about that in a minute, connects ancient myth with modern digital culture. ChatGPT itself is stretching at this point. The fusion helps spread Discordian ideas in a way that resonates with a tech-savvy audience, bridging the gap between old lore and new. Right, this is like why like ChatGPT is so glib at like astroturfing an essay. That's why I think academics pretty much hate it, because while at the same time as you can say, well, I guess that's a point, the substance of the sentences in that paragraph mean absolutely nothing. The fact that we've chosen the Heavy to be a face of Eris connects team shooters with ancient Greece just by existing. It doesn't say whether the bond is coherent. It doesn't say whether it's good. It doesn't say whether it's inherently, intrinsically meaningful. It just states that connection exists, which is like, all right, cool story, bro. A witty strong man. The point being duality of strength and wit. While the Heavy's physical presence is formidable, his persona is equally marked by a playful wit. This balance reflects the dual nature of Eris, embodying both the disruptive force of chaos and the humour inherent in life's unpredictability. Life is unpredictable. ChatGPT somewhat less so, but it is true, right? Okay, so the one thing you would say about a heavy weapons guy, I am not in the best placed to relay whether this is actually the case, because as I've said on many occasions, I have not played Team Fortress 2. It's not really my thing. But as this guy is a heavy weapons guy, I imagine the point of his character is that he carries heavy weapons, as he is in this representation of him here, which means that essentially, you know, he's the opposite of a sniper. A sniper hits one target and that's it. However, it is true that if you hit the right target, you know, like Archduke Franz Ferdinand, of Bavaria, I think he was, then you could cause chaos on a global scale. Oh yes. But that sort of surgical chaos creation, that is in fact the demonstration of the principle that if you try to create order, you create chaos. The order you try to create is just hit one man and kill him. That's it. Take that piece off the chessboard and then woof, chaos ensues. Whereas the heavy is like spray and pray. Maybe you'll hit something good. And that's, you know, that whole thing, that whole arena of like blowing up you know, things in films when, like, you know, people walking away from a gas station explodes behind them, or any building, and explodes behind them. That is, I have left chaos in my wake. So that is very much in keeping with the way that one might wish to express themselves via the heavy in Team Fortress 2. And then apparently he's pretty funny, so I'm going to take that on face value. So there we go. So it is essentially, so I mean, essentially we could broaden that out. Anytime you have a sort of action movie scenario where someone blows stuff up but then makes quips about it, that shows you the duality of strength and wit inherent in the awesome destruction of chaos and the snarky throwaway comment that follows from Eris. So there we go. Pop culture icon, modernizing mythology, pairing an unexpected contemporary figure like the Heavy with an ancient god. This is just the same point from 2 points ago, or was it one? Yeah, witty strongman. This is just, is that the right one? No, sorry, meme lord, subversion of their pop culture. I suppose it's not surprising that pop culture icon and meme lord are tied together, but let's read anyway. Pairing an unexpected contemporary figure like the Heavy with the ancient goddess creates a fresh reinterpretation of myth. It highlights how age-old ideas like chaos and discord can be continually reimagined, keeping the spirit of Eris dynamic and relevant. Now, the thing about this is that the second time around, this point hits like you're trying to brand the Church of Discordianism, which I guess, I mean, the Church of Discordianism, the Church of Eris, its many subsects, including, of course, our very own South Wales Discordian Press, proudly not printing anything since about 2018, maybe, I don't know, whenever I made up that it started. Yeah, we've not been publishing stuff since then. Yeah, it's a milestone. It's a landmark. Yeah, all of that stuff is part of Discordianism. Discordians being Discordians. Oh, yeah. And so, but are we branded? Does the Church of Discordianism have a brand? Okay. I can't answer that question. I don't know. Maybe we need to look into it. The image and presence of Discordianism in the modern world. Okay, so we have 1 point left. Now, weirdly, I miscounted and didn't. I thought that there would be an introductory paragraph, but there wasn't. It was just the 6 points out of Chat GPT, just pasted into a comment. Obviously, typing fingers were tired, but copy-paste hands were fine at the time that this was done. So the last one is mythological read. Oh, right, I guess. Oh, pop culture icon is from this one, iconic pop culture presence. So I noticed it. I put it straight in afterwards. I don't know. This is the last point anyway. You'll notice they're pretty much interchangeable anyway. The Heavy is instantly recognizable. I mean, okay, we'll come back to that. And has become a staple in modern meme culture. Again, right, I meant to make this point earlier. I'm going to make it now. This visibility makes him a relatable and striking symbol to represent the disruptive and irreverent nature of Eris. wow, Chat GPT knows to hang on to 2 points and just make those points over and over again, doesn't it? Right, so there's a couple of points I'd take issue with here. First of all, as it happens, when we had a meme lord saint in Aftermath last year, I buckled to the request and made the heavy, or at least Team Fortress 2 memes were part of that meme lord's shtick, because that's where it came from. I shall point out that at this point, from this point forward, from this line and no further, the heavy's done. Team Fortress 2, we're done with it. It's fine. This is it. It's having its day. This is its day in court. This is its moment in the sun. From here on out, we got to move on. We got to move forward. We got to evolve. Okay, so this is the last time that we're ever going to do this. But the point is, at the time, I was like, oh, let's find some TF2 memes, and I found, doing a search, I found a couple of heavy related memes, one or two. But like, if you stand 2 memes on an image search versus that blooming cat and the woman screaming at the cat, or seeming to scream at the cat, there's no competition. And I think this is also the thing, is like instantly recognizable. That's the other phrase in this Chat GPT slop that I've been handed to talk about why the heavy is. Instantly recognizable to the player base of Team Fortress 2 and maybe some other people who, like, if you'd shown me before all of this malarkey, Pedro guy, I think he's from that team shoot. I don't know who he is, but he's from a team shooter of some sort. That's as much. That is not, in my book, instantly recognizable. He's instantly recognizable to me now, but that's because I've had the concept of going with this shoved down my throat for a fair few months at this point. Okay, I would say if you took this and a deck of other people's Spider-Man, stuff like that, out onto the street and said, can you rain me pop culture figures, I don't think that Heavy would get a high hit rate for people recognizing him. So I mean, I think that even ChatGPT is stretching a point with that one. Like, he's relatively better known than, my Uncle Dave. Only people in the family and his long-suffering work colleagues know my Uncle Dave. I don't really have an Uncle Dave. This is purely for illustrative purposes. That's definitely someone who's non-recognizable. You take Uncle Dave's picture all around the world and you won't find anyone except people who actually personally know Uncle Dave, who know Uncle Dave is. And the Heavy has had a higher recognizability rate. There are people, but then the thing about it is, it's like nobody's ever met the Heavy from, Team Fortress 2. It's a video game sprite. So people who you'd probably be better off, putting him in a logo competition or something like that with other recognizable things. Things that are recognizable but intangible. That is better where it is, and I would argue that he's not really in that category. So thank you, ChatGPT. You've done your very best to convince us that the Heavy is all these things. And he has been, for this week, the face of Eris. And in fact, you too, ChatGPT, have done your best to be... Well, I mean, it does prove to me that the ChatGPT energy is heavily greyface. It's trying to manipulate and control through language models. Like, you tell it what result you want and it'll try to give you that result. But the problem with it is it can be inaccurate, wrong. Like, it's gone, the Heavy from Team Fortress 2's household name. Which I would argue is maybe a sort of tangential data hallucination. Team Fortress 2's Heavy is not a household name. You could quote me on that. Okay. Yes, it's that time. This has come along at round about the right time, I would say. I love to do a service, don't get me wrong, but it's been a heavy week. A heavy See what I've done there. And yeah, this is just ideal for me, just to run the service, no disruption. So there we go. Good. We've had interaction from a distance. We've had an interaction. I've had to read off someone's comment. And indeed, if you write me a comment, if you're asynchronous, you want to leave me a comment, you want me to talk about something, you want to ask a question, you want to get in touch, there's every chance that I will somehow weave it into the service. There's a whole Q&A section for the sake of Eris. So yeah, you want to know? Just ask. That's what I'm here for. But yeah, here's the reflective tarot card for this week. Nobody knows what it is yet, but we're all about to know together. Here it be. Oh, it's the Wheel of Fortune, which is weird because there's an episode of Fresh Off the Boat where Mrs. Huang goes on Wheel of Fortune, and that's the episode that we watched this evening as we ate our evening repast. So the Wheel of Fortune is here. It is. It's also a card that you can get as an upgrade, well, possible upgrade in the popular poker roguelike Balatro. It's a rubbish card in Balatro. I don't know why you would ever take it, but there it is. It's there. So yeah, Wheel of Fortune. It just means what goes up must come down. The spinning pony spins around. Yeah. Fans of Peggy Lee, you can follow what you can dig what I'm digging, right? Yeah. So there we go. Wheel of Fortune. Play this painted pony and let the spinning wheel spin. What goes up must come down. Yeah. Yeah. Changing fortunes. The ebb and flow. There it is. So it's a week to think about how. I mean, it's a very chaotic card. It's like anything can happen at any time. Buckle up, Buttercup. It's the Wheel of Fortune. It's spinning right now. Gambling, games of chance, all of that stuff. Winning, losing. The fickle finger of fate. All part of that one. It's actually pretty easy interpretation, pretty easy. That's our vibe for the week. As we leave February. It is the second month on a row, obviously, because we get 4 weeks and then another identical 4 weeks, that you're not going to know what I've called the month until we're almost a week in, because the next service is not till next Friday, the 6th of March. Can't call it anything else yet. I don't know what it's called. We only name the month when it comes nigh, and it is pretty nigh, but it's not, you know. I'm not standing at the board doing the month naming thing. That'll be later. So you'll find out next week. If you were to ask me right now, what will the goddess deem to call March 2025? I will not have an answer for you. For God's sake, last month, January, was called Beta Rita. I mean, that doesn't sound anything like January. And February does sound like February. But it's all on the fours. All on the fours this month. And there were many life-changing events that occurred on the fours this month. So yeah, that was Reflective Tarot. We're punching through it this week. Oh yes. It's that time already. Yeah, oh yeah, I should probably, before we go into the thing, I would just like to reflect, and for you to reflect upon the irony that a constant member of the congregation who has been bugging me to make the heavy. You see, the thing is, I think that he genuinely believed, or they genuinely believed that they were going to leave that note, and then I was going to turn up like I'm some kind of control-obsessed dungeon master and tease them with, oh, not this week, I've got your notes, but not this week. And admittedly, the first thing I thought was, well, should I just give in? And I was like, what am I talking about, give in? What am I giving into? It's a request. I've got no other requests. Give the people what they want. As well as which, it completely deflates the air of dramatic tension. Well, is it going to be the heavy this week? If you say, Oh, you write me the things and I'll do the heavy. And then they write me things and I do the heavy. Where's the drama? Well, there shouldn't be any drama. This isn't a drama. This is a service. But I don't think that the thought was that I would instantly hop to and then the next week. Well, it obviously wasn't, because no congregant. So the 1 week they really wanted to see what was going on, they're not here. Irony. So there is some dramatic irony in that. So there we go. Just ponder on that. What if someone isn't going to play silly mind games? What if they're just going to do what they said they were going to do? What then? How will we ever cope? So yeah, get your sacrament ready. Strawberry flavoured maybe. Sweetie flavoured. Could be a liquid, could be a gas. Could be flavoured of strawberry, could be flavoured of anything else. Could literally be any consumable item in the world. And we say, I could not find a hot dog, not even with a bun. So I eat this insert name of foodstuff here, because devotion comes with fun. Hail Eris. Here is an actual experience thing. Your mileage may vary. I'm not even halfway through my tub of sacramental candy noodles at this time. But the thing about any kind of chaos magic ritual, and I am not calling this a chaos magic ritual, it is just what it is. Because I've learnt that's how it works. In fact, let's be 100%, this is a chaos mystical ritual, chaos ritual. Yeah? Because it's the same thing every week. We do the sacrament. And the power of the sacrament, as anyone who in a religion that does sacraments will tell you, comes in that repetition, in that ritual, that the sacrament becomes stronger the more times you repeat it. And indeed, I have realized that the taste of the strawberry candy is getting what I can only describe as more chaotic. The more times we go round this particular wheel, the more times that it becomes deeper. It's like the month naming ritual, it's like anything else. Yeah, chaos mysticism. See, chaos magic is trying to provoke a specific response from your chaotic meanderings. Chaos mystical ritual is just doing a thing and seeing what effect it has. And the month thing does give it a vibe thing. On the fours this month were very important. So if you're joining in Forbury, that's what you'll have found too. If you've been joining month after month, you'll pick up the vibe. Yeah. I'm setting the vibe, so you would just be carrying along. So it might take longer to take for you. I mean, you could name your month yourself, and then you would get your own vibe, and that might be preferable. But the sacramental thing also has a vibe, and it adds in, and they all tangle together. There's the reality tunnel right there. There are all the paradoxes, forces working independently of each other, but yet producing a gestalt effect, a Discordian field, if you will. And there is a substance, an energy to life when you follow those things. That's how I feel anyway. And there's no one here to disagree with me, so right. Yeah, that's it. That's all she wrote. We did a quick one. Which, of course, is the case because nobody interrupted me. Nobody ran into the e-chapel shouting, "Liar!" To which I would have gone, "Yes, you spotted it. Well done." But my lies have gone unchallenged. So that is absolutely fine. Remember, do not believe anything you read. That includes the words that I put up behind me right there and all that. They're not behind me. Well, which hand? Yeah, let's see, it's in front of me. But whatever. See, lies again. Lies upon lies. But nobody did it to me this week, so you just got it pure and unfiltered, straight from the Pope's mouth. I don't like being a Pope. I like being a pastor. You know, ideally a fusilli or radiatore. Those things are dope. So yeah, with that pasta-based pun, I shall leave you. I hope you enjoyed Forbury, and you are looking forward to the end of the last 2 weeks of chaos and the season of, I think it's Discord, that is to come. Am I going to go as far as... Yeah. Let's just make sure I have got that right. It's chaos into Discord. What kind of a priest are you if you can't even remember the names of your own months? To be honest, most people probably couldn't. Here we are, we're nearly there. I think it's the next page. Yeah, there we go. Seasons... Yeah, Discord. Chaos, Discord, confusion, bureaucracy. So there we go. Month of the season of Discord. Coming in 2 weeks' time. 2 weeks' time. Enjoy. And other than that, I'll leave you to go and mentally prepare yourself for the end of chaos and the beginning of Discord. Good evening.